Executive Vice President of the AARP in Washington. She's joining us tonight from New York City. Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. How are you?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, you are counting down the days, so this is sort of an exit interview of sorts. And tell us, because it really is the most fascinating thing, what was it like to accept the resignation of a guy who had appointed you?
It was a traumatic incident. I remember I didn't accept the resignation. The resignation was given to me by, and it's a formality. It's just a transactional process by Dave Nocenti, and I remember both of us being quite moved that day.
How did that happen? David Nocenti was a top staffer on the second floor of the Capitol in the Spitzer administration. Do you remember any details, like what time was it, and did he call you first and say, hi, I'm coming by to just give you this very odd document in a very strange situation?
That's precisely how it was. David called and said, Lorraine, I'm coming down to process the formality of the letter. And he came up the hill, and we processed it, and we had a few moments just to just hold each other and say how moved we both were. You know, it was.
I remember that letter. It was one line or two lines. It was not very much.
No, I think that's what all that was required.
Now, how did you know Eliot Spitzer, and what was it like actually to have been appointed by him and then see him fall so far from grace?
Well, I knew Eliot Spitzer because of the work that I did in the community. I've been involved in public service in one form or another for the last 29 years of my life, and when he was Attorney General, we did some work together. He did excellent work around day labor issues, which were very important to us at the Hispanic Federation. I was then president of the Hispanic Federation. I was excited and thrilled to be appointed Secretary of State for a variety of reasons. One is, as you well know, it was the first time that someone of my background would be Secretary of State in New York. And for me, it was exciting to see what that challenge would bring, to have a voice from a particular community, lots of underrepresented communities speaking at a statewide level. It was an exciting challenge. It came there with a commitment to make sure that government would be responsive and accessible to communities where it who may have not really enjoyed total access and total availability of all of the services available.
And now that when Eliot Spitzer then subsequently had to resign because of a prostitution scandal, did it dismay you to the point that you lost faith in your mission of serving the community and the state?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it was a painful time for the Spitzer family, for Eliot, for all of us who were appointed by Eliot. I think it was a painful and shocking time. And it was a major distraction. But, you know, our commitment to serve, it was still strong. My commitment to serve was still strong, and I'm very pleased that I have been able to do so under Governor Patterson and continue to do so.
Have you been in touch with Eliot Spitzer at all, or no?
No, I have not.
You know, it's interesting. I saw an interview that you had done with our sister station, New York One, which is where you are now, and I was surprised to hear that you don't really believe that state government is as dysfunctional as most people believe it is. Why not?
Because I think what most people react to are some of the headlines. I am not in any way going to say that there are not many areas that need improvement. You know, this administration has constantly talked about that. Just our budget process and the way our budget process has been protracted is one example of many of the things that need to be repaired and corrected in Albany. But what doesn't get mentioned is all of the good work and much of the strides that have been made. They don't get as much attention. There is an overemphasis on the dysfunction, and I think that does the state a disservice. I think it does the people of the state a disservice. And I also think that it keeps chipping away and eroding the confidence that people have in government, which is, I hope, not the intent. This is the government that we have. This is the government that we all choose to serve. And we need to make sure that we also give credit to and and voice to many of the things that do function well and that have functioned well, and many of the strides that have been made.
You know, with your departure, actually, and you alluded to it earlier, the highest ranking Latina is leaving the state. And much has been made of the lack of representation throughout government among the Latino community, particularly in the Senate. And Pedro Espada, the majority leader, who, as you know, is quite controversial, makes much of this. I wonder what your thoughts are there. Do you believe that Latinos are not sufficiently represented in state government?
I do. Facts are friendly. I mean, all you have to do is look at the numbers in the workforce, and you can see that the facts do bear out that Latinos are underrepresented, particularly if you look at it in terms of population representation. But that is not to say that efforts have not been made. I know that there was a 705 commission that was commissioned by Assembly Member Peter Rivera and Speaker Sheldon Silver, and many, many recommendations have been made to try to reverse that. We also have the commissioner and the governor have worked together to come up with a diversity task force to address precisely those issues.
But as
so those are the things that we're looking at.
As a Democrat and also as a woman, are you not upset or dismayed by the fact that there is not a single member of color and only at this point one person on the statewide Democratic ticket who is a woman?
I think that that is an issue that always, diversity and representation are issues that all parties should look at, because I think that for government to function well, it needs to make sure that it is an inclusive government. Am I dismayed or upset? No, that's the head of the party makes those decisions. But I do think that the voice has to be there, and a lot of the interaction within the community has to be there. It cannot be just having someone on the ticket. Of course, everyone wants somebody on the ticket. But if you don't have someone on the ticket, you need to still have interaction with that community, and I believe that the party still does that.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Madam Secretary, because you are about to leave public service, and thanks for sharing some time with us this evening and your thoughts about your tenure.
Thank you very much.